Last time we went into this cavern to unfold the secrets between the old lady and Y'shtola. Before we move on with this story, I made every gear set for every unlocked job to organize the inventory a bit, combined with gaining some levels into the Black Mage shop via daily dungeons and such. Of course, with the big variety of Cestecia, and more Cestecia, mostly at least. After a few days another dungeon was bound to happen, and I was glad it wasn't Cestecia for once. Going back to the place where we left off, I first wanted to do the optional quest to get one more Ether Current. Cerro Rogo requires 8. The frog seems to have a simple task, picking leaves from her herb garden. But there is one big issue: bugs. Cerro Rogo cannot handle this alone and would be grateful if we could get rid of those pests. Without too much hassle, we obviously obliterated the pest and quickly reported back to Cerro Rogo. Cerro Rogo mentions that he is incompetent and clumsy. Good to see we have something in common. The worst part is that if Cerro Rogo doesn't prove to be more useful, the enchantment will be revoked and Cerro Rogo will be an ordinary toad again. Poor unfortunate soul. Well, nothing we can do about, so we went on to the strange lady, Matoya. She talks about something that started 50 years ago, some research she was doing. After being denounced because of a disagreement, Matoya sealed away all her research. But since we are looking for this knowledge, Y'shtola asked nicely if we could retrieve it after it being sealed away for 50 years. Matoya didn't flinch a bit and immediately told us where we could find the information. The Great Library has some guardians. Since she understands we have a main character syndrome, it shouldn't be an issue for us. Luckily we have this enchanted broom, who is willing to tell us the exact location of this Great Library. On we go! At the library we got the 2 regular options as usual. Going solo into the dungeon or finding some random people who are willing to guide me through. I hesitated at first, but realized the best experience is going solo where no one needs to wait for me. While the library looks amazing, it wasn't the first thing that caught my attention. The music is marvelous! It sounds a bit dramatic and tries to set tension, yet calming in some way. Which I enjoyed throughout the dungeon. Exploring the library, you can read multiple books or tomes to gather information. While it might just be flavor at times, it makes the experience excellent. I got to be honest, I didn't expect this kind of boss to be here, yet it fits so well. The dungeon as a whole is definitely one of the better ones from what I remember after a long break. Everything combined makes me immersed in the library. After defeating the library guardians, we got another scene with crystals. Of course, I remember everything about these crystals and their importance. It does seem this is the 5th one, so we probably aren't that far off the Heavensward storyline. We got the tome and quickly went back to Matoya, completing the quest and apparently giving us the last Ether Currents to be able to fly in this area. She had to decipher it for us to be able to read it, and tell us the large amount of ether that is required for this device to work. The eye is what we might be looking for after all this time, which I definitely remember what is. Let's make haste to Ishgard, a place I do remember for a change. Back in Ishgard we first met again with Emmerich to keep him up to date with our current plans. Afterwards we met with Sid, telling him about our ambitious plan regarding the eye. While Sid and the crew were upgrading the Enterprise, we had little time to see our friends one last time before we ventured off into this dangerous adventure. I am glad I remember most of them, even if it is only their face after such a long time. This is where I learned our Chiffon died, which I did not remember. Luckily, we do remember him. Urian J coming to visit us confused me a bit. Wasn't he one of those bad guys after all? My memory might not remember everything as well as I had hoped. The Enterprise got upgraded into Excelsior. Now we are ready for our mission. Just before takeoff, all of our friends came by to say one last goodbye. We flew far away to this unknown floating land where we had to destroy its barrier. With the power of the eye, we made a massive ether drill to penetrate the barrier, creating one big issue. The Imperials were following us, casually waiting for us to destroy the barrier to its land. We were no match for them. almost blowing up the Excelsior into pieces. Luckily, we were not alone. By using the eye, we indirectly summoned Iceheart and the dragon to aid us. She certainly damaged their ship, but even with all her power she was unable to keep them at distance for long. Farewell, Ysayle, the Ice Queen. Her defeat did buy us enough time to enter the floating new land, Azizla. This new land reminds me of the Imperial area where we were in A Realm Reborn, but I am uncertain if there is any connection. We made a small base camp near our landing place to coordinate the attack on the Archbishop. Right, I totally forgot about him not being the best Archbishop in town. The current goal is to find a way to activate this terminal, which proved to be challenging. Our friend Wesh also wandered off. Is he up to something? Ah, it seems he was. He found a strange looking sphere which is the key to activating the terminal. Great, this could give us a lot of information about Azizla. We asked the guidance notes nicely how to reach the flagship, which generated a dangerous route, but nothing we can dance through. Following the route we were given, we stumbled upon this platform including a teleporter device. But before we can use it, it needs to be activated in some way. That way being the guidance note doing some magic stuff, activating it and teleporting us to the other platform. Well, there is enough side quests to do in Azizla. For us it mostly seemed to be an area where we just follow the note to the flagship while enjoying the view of Azizla. With a few small things we were required to do to activate the teleporters, not all of them were instantly activatable by the guidance note. Using the next teleporter brought us close to the Imperial flagship. Since we weren't the closest friends, we better avoid contact at all cost. While I did my utter best to avoid everything and not getting aggroed by any mobs, our presence did not go unnoticed. So we had to fight some of them off. This constant fighting near the teleporter caught the attention of their leader, Regula von Hydrus. We did our best to defeat him, but he was tough and retreated near the end. Sadly, since he did send a lot of troops to keep us busy, we had to split up. Estinian giving us the eye and now we are going forward alone. Deeper into this floating land we found a gigantic dragon imprisoned which seems to be Tiamat, the child of Midgardsormr. It seems Tiamat is imprisoned for millennia and the war between dragons and men already started before his imprisonment. We also learned Midgardsormr laid 7 eggs, which once they were full-grown dragons spread across all the lands of Hydaelyn. After hearing the rest of Tiamat's story, we suddenly felt something. The 6th crystal appeared, regaining the power we once lost. Midgardsormr is impressed by our strength, which made him aid us with his wings, transforming into a rideable dragon. I must say, it feels satisfying to have our first own dragon mount. I did not see this coming, going into the conversation with Tiamat. I want to thank you all for following along my journey through Final Fantasy XIV. Let's see what next one brings us, and don't forget to subscribe to not miss the next one. Cheerio!